Our warm up for today's class. Let's start with those big shoulder rolls, arm circles, not really shoulder rolls, opening up the shoulder and chest here. And then let those arms hang down by your side. We're going to take it to the hips for a second, going into our hip rotations. So knee comes up and out to the side, and we're alternating sides as we go. All the motions coming from that hip socket. Chest should be staying straight forward. Good. Keep going. Let's do one more on each side right here, right and left. And let's take it to our shoulder rotation. So arms are up 90 degrees. We're going to rotate them down and back as far as you can comfortably go. Get a little bit of shoulder mobility. Warming up all of those joints before we jump into our strength portion of class. We will still follow our same format as usual today. So we'll have 3 circuits, 4 exercises in the first 2 exercises, and the last one, 45 seconds of work and 15 seconds of rest. All right, let's go and let those arms rest. We're going to go into a little bit of a full body stretch here. So if we have room on the floor, we're going to do our plank walkouts. You can always bend the knee if you need to. So we'll reach up towards the ceiling, look up, take those arms, reach down towards the toes. Again, bend the legs if you need to. Walk those hands out to either a plank or plank with the knees on the ground. Then we'll come right back to the feet, raise up, and we're going to do that 2 more times through. So reach up, open up that chest, dive down towards the feet, walk it out, hold it just for a second here in your plank or modified plank, and walk it right back. One more time right here. Make this a good one. Getting that core nice and warmed up. Walk it back and up. All right, hopefully you guys are feeling nice and warm. We're gonna go on and get into the workout for today. Jewel put something in the chat, yes. So Jewel put the link in the chat for the classes. I'm also gonna quickly turn my Teams notifications off. I usually remember to do that so that you guys are not getting pings all throughout this class. Okay, cool. We don't want no Teams pings during class. Stressing me out. All right, so our first circuit, we've got 4 exercises. We're gonna start with our regular squat. So dumbbells up, sitting back like we're sitting in a chair. That's exercise number 1. Exercise 2, we'll move into our basic deadlift. Both feet on the ground, pushing the back. That is our second exercise. Third exercise, we'll move into our alternative lunge. You can step forward or backward, whichever you prefer. Use your weights. Don't use your weights. Hold on to something for balance if you need your modification, but we'll be alternating sides. Just going as low as you comfortably can, not letting that knee go too far past the toe, and back up. So that's third exercise. And fourth, we'll finish out with our calf raises, raising up onto the toes, and coming back down. So I know that was fast, but those are all exercises we've done plenty of times before, so I think you guys are good. Kristen says down with the pings. I agree. All right, let's go on and get set up for our squats. So feet are just a little bit wider than hip distance. Dumbbells up. We'll start in 3, 2, and 1. Take it down. Remember to keep that chest lifted. Shoulder blades are engaged. Even though we're focusing on our lower body, we want to still keep that posture good. Hopefully everyone's having a good week so far. adjusting to the warmer weather as we move into summer here in Texas. Always a bit of an adjustment. Almost there, keep it going. Let's rest in 3, 2, and 1. All right, 15 seconds, and then we've got those deadlifts next. So move those feet in so they're directly under the hips. Slight bend in those knees. Roll the shoulders back and down. We're pushing hips back in 3, 2, and 1. Dumbbells go straight down. Hips go back. Only go down as far as you comfortably can. Do a little bit of a stretch in those hamstrings and squeeze as you come back up. Good, 15 seconds here. Rest in 3, 2, and 1. All right, lunges are next. You have options. Drop the weights if you need to. Keep them if you can. Hold on to something for balance if you need to. Alternating legs in 3, 2, and 1. Remember, only go down as far as you can comfortably go. Your knee doesn't have to reach the mat. Especially if you have longer legs, we don't want those knees going past the toes. Just aim for that 90-degree bend in that front leg. Good. 10 seconds here. Rest in 3, 2, and 1. All right. Half raises are our fourth exercise here. Dumbbells at your sides, or you can drop them if you like if balance is a little tricky. Let's start in 3, 2, and 1. Up on those toes. Try to hold it there for a second and then come back down. Your chance to catch your breath in between the squats and deadlifts and lunges because we've got one more round. Coming right back up after this. We made it through the first round. 15 seconds. We'll rest in 3, 2, and 1. All right. Squats are right back up in 15 seconds. Catch your breath. Set those feet slightly wider than hips. Let's get ready. In 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Here we go. You guys have got this. I always do almost cut back there. Oh my gosh. I always do lower body first. It's usually the most challenging. So give your best. You should give your best effort all of class, but use up those big energy stores for these big exercises. Good. 15 seconds here. Almost there. Rest in 3, 2, and 1. All right, shake that out. Deadlifts are up next. You know what to do. Move those feet in a little bit more narrow. Shoulders back and down. We're going for our deadlifts in 3, 2, and 1. Think about really putting the weight into the heels of your feet. Good, keep it up. 15 more seconds here. Almost there. In 3, 2, and 1. All right, you already know, lunges are next. It's okay, we're gonna get through this together. I don't love lunges, you probably don't love lunges, but they're good for us. Let's start here in 3, 2, and 1. Alternating legs. Try to make sure that that knee is tracking in line with the toes, so we don't want the knee caving in or caving too far out. Should be in a straight line. Good, less than 15 seconds here. Rest in 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Calf raises, woohoo! The easier of the bunch to finish us out. Take those legs out. Let's get started. In 3, 2, and 1. Back up on those toes. Good. Keep it going. Because he's the only person I'll do lunges for. I'm glad, because you guys are the only people I'll do lunges for. You guys hold me accountable. I can tell you, I am not doing many lunges when this camera is off, so that's my confession of the day. Me and lunges are not friends, but I know I need to do them more. We've got less than 15 seconds here. Keep it up. Good, nice long rest after this in 3, 2, and 1. Okay. I'm going to move our camera angle. An interesting new angle of me this week. So we're coming over here. Bear with me as I set us up. So we've got 4 upper body exercises. Our first one, I'm gonna have to take this up a bit. First one is our regular overhead press that we normally do. So just straight up, just like that. That's exercise number 1. I know you guys know that at this point. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. Our second one is our push-up. Just keep in mind for your door, for your wall. If you don't have a door or a wall, there's not a direct modification for this, so I'm going to give you a different exercise, and that's going to be our bent over row. So if you don't have a wall or doors to support you, do that bent over row. But if you do have your door or your wall, we're going to set up for a push-up just like we would on the floor. Your hands are going to be slightly lower than your shoulders, because when you push yourself in, you'll find that your wrists are actually going to be in line with your shoulders. If you have them up too high, as you come down, you're gonna realize your hands are up above your shoulders. So you don't want them too high, just a little bit below your shoulders as you set up. You can't see my feet, but a key here with the feet is, if you need a little bit more stability, take those legs out wide, a nice wide stance. It's gonna give you more stability. If you want more of a challenge, walk the feet in. So once we're set up in our position, core is engaged right here. We're gonna push towards the wall, bend those elbows back. Elbows are pointing down, diagonally towards the floor. We push in, and we come back up. Just like that. So that is our push-up modification. That is exercise number 2. And then we've got 2 classics to finish us out. Just our bicep curl for exercise number 3. And then we'll finish out with our overhead tricep extension. Just squeezing that dumbbell forward. So the other 3 are ones you guys know and love at this point. And then we've got that one newbie in the group. So let's go on and get set up for overhead press. We're gonna get started here in just a few seconds. In 3, 2, and 1. If I look over to the side, I promise there's not a goblin coming from me out of the corner of the room. I'm just looking at our clock. to make sure we're hitting that 45-second mark. Good. Remember, you can always use that staggered stance here if that feels a little bit better. It gives you more stability. We've got 15 seconds here. Make sure you're breathing. In 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're setting up for that push-up. So remember, you choose your stance here. Place those hands just a little bit lower than the shoulders. We start in 3, 2, and 1. Pressing towards the wall. Elbows are down at a diagonal towards the floor. Should be feeling it in the chest and in the triceps here. This is a great modification. If you're not quite ready for a full push-up, or you just don't have the space to get down on the floor, you want to be able to do a quick exercise during the workday that doesn't cause you to get down on the floor. Lots of reasons to add this one in. Good, keep it going. We're resting in 3, 2, and 1. Whew. We got it. We made it through the first round. With the camera angles and the timer over there and the new setup, we did it. Let's move into our bicep curls in 3, 2, and 1. Just a straight bicep curl here. Keep those elbows tucked at the sides so we're not using any momentum. Just those biceps to get the weight up. Really hard to get some of those chest exercises in standing, because by nature, our chest muscles, or any muscle for that matter, we have to work against gravity. And so you either need to be lying down or at some sort of angle to work your chest muscles, which is difficult to do when you're standing. Let's rest here in 3, 2, and 1. All right, drop one dumbbell. We've got our tricep extension next. So just one dumbbell needed up overhead. Elbows are tucked in at the temples of your forehead. In 3, 2, and 1. Dip it back. Squeeze as you straighten those arms forward. And remember, try to keep that head tucked back. No need to peek out or peek through. That's just going to put extra stress on your neck that's not necessary. Good, keep it going. 15 seconds here. We're almost there. In 3, 2, and 1. All right. Whew. We're going right back through that one more time. So we'll start with our overhead press. Make sure you've got both dumbbells ready to go. We're starting in 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. Good. You guys have got this. "15 seconds here." My shoulders are feeling it. I was testing out those wall push-ups and some shoulder stretches that we're gonna get into later before class, so I'm really feeling it. Let's rest in 3, 2, and 1. Woo. All right, drop those dumbbells. Get set up for our wall push-up, or remember you can do that bent over row. If you don't have a wall, hands are slightly lower than the shoulders. In 3, 2, and 1. Press towards the wall and back up. You can play with your hand position here as well. The wider your hands are, the more you're gonna feel it in your chest. The closer in, the more you're gonna feel it in your tricep. So you can play with your hand angles to feel which one feels better to you or which muscle group you're just trying to target for the day. Make sure that the core is staying engaged here. So a nice, strong core should be in one straight line. Don't let those hips sag. You don't want to be pushing the bum out too far. Just a nice, engaged core, like we're in a plank position. Almost there. Keep it going. In 3, 2, and 1. Woo! Arms are feeling it, but we got 2 more exercises. We've got this, you guys. Let's move into those bicep curls next. Dumbbells are facing out. In 3, 2, and 1. Like I've got crazy hair. My glasses are falling off, but we're making it through. Good. Over halfway. And resting in 3, 2, and 1. All right. Drop one of those dumbbells. We've got our tricep extension to finish us out for our upper body. We'll take that one dumbbell up overhead, squeeze those elbows in at the sides of your head in 3, 2, and 1. Last upper body exercise of the day. All right, be really intentional with this movement here. Not just going through the motions to finish out the day. 15 seconds, you've got this. Rest in 3, 2, and 1. Woo, you guys made it. All right, I'm gonna quickly transition us down to the mat. We've got 2 floor exercises for today. Hold for my cameraman duties. Only I had an assistant in here that could move everything around for me, shuffle around. All right, we've got 2 exercises. We're gonna do our bridge and we're gonna do our plank or modified plank. So, my dumbbells are over there. I'm not even gonna go grab them. You can do this body weight or with your dumbbells. Flat on your back. Knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. If you're using your weights, just hold them right on top of your hips. We're gonna push through the heels, lift those hips up towards the ceiling and keep that core engaged. That is gonna be our first exercise. It's a split bridge, just like that. And our second exercise, we'll move into a plank or a modified plank. So modified, you can have those knees on the ground, still keeping a nice flat back though, and keeping that core engaged. Or you can go up onto the feet for a full plank. So 2 modifications there, 2 exercises, and we're gonna do 2 times through. So let's go on and get reset. Get ready for the glute bridge. Get that flat on your back. Knees are bent. Feet are flat on the floor. Dumbbells on the hips. So we're going to get started here in just a few seconds. In 3, 2, and 1. Pressing up, pushing through the heels, and then returning back down. If you can, hold that top position for just a second or 2 for a little bit of an extra challenge. Go on and do that, and then come back down. We want to make sure that we're keeping that core engaged here, really squeezing the glutes as we raise up so that we're not just using the low back, the arch back and forth, but we're really intentionally using the core and the glutes. Almost there in 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're switching over for our plank. So switch sides here. Decide if you want to choose on the knees or up in a full plank. We'll start in 3, 2, and 1. Same thing as I said with our push-up earlier. If your feet are wider, you'll have a little bit more support. If your feet are more narrow, you'll have less support, a little bit more challenging. Make sure you're breathing. Always come down to the knees, midway. If you start to feel any pain in the low back, make sure that you are coming down to the knees and not staying up on the toes. Let's rest here in 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. We'll move right back into one more rotation of that. Alternatives to the floor work. So my alternatives to that would be same thing with the door. If you want to do a plank, just like we did with the push-up, you could. Let's get set here. That could be your option there for the glute bridge. Really, your best modification standing would be deadlift. So I would do another round of deadlifts. Let's get started in 3, 2, and 1. Pressing those hips up. So this glute bridge here is really a hip hinge. Ultimately, we're hinging at the hips. And so when we do our deadlift, that exercise is also a hip hinge. So that would be your standing version of this exercise. And then, like I said, for the plank, I would do it up against a wall. Even if you have like a stable chair that's not going to move, you could also use the back of the chair. But again, make sure it's stable too before doing that. We're almost there. Keep it going. We're resting in 3, 2, and 1. All right, let's transition over for our final exercise of the day. We've got our plank. We're gonna get started in 3, 2, and 1. Again, making sure that the core is engaged. So I don't want the hips down here sagging. Don't want the bum up too high in the air. You should be in one straight line. As much as we can be. Make sure you're still breathing. Those shoulders engaged. Think about pressing forward, pressing the wall away from you. Almost there. Rest in 3, 2, and 1. All right. Let's go on and untangle from that. You can take a quick rest. If this is where you have to stop for the day here at 12:30, that is totally okay. Just make sure you're stretching throughout the day, drinking plenty of water. Want to make sure that you're recovering from the workout. If you are hanging around for our last 15 minutes of class, we're going to do a couple stretches and a little bit of foam rolling. But we are going to try a couple new stretches today with the walls. Just want to give some variations. I know maybe not everyone has a wall, but I know not everyone can also get on the floor and do some of the stretches we do. So I want to provide some variety for all different types of environments that you guys might be in. So give me just a second here. I'm going to transition us back up to the angle we were just at. Again, if only I had like 5 laptops and could set them up all around the room and just have a clicker and be like, camera A, camera B, but I don't have that. It's just me and one laptop in an apartment, so we're making it work, right? All right. Okay, let's make sure you guys can see most of me at least. Back here. So we're gonna use our wall for our first set of exercises. So most of these are gonna be shoulder exercises, a shoulder mobility, but we're gonna start with one that's very basic. I'm sure you have done it before, but I'm just gonna show it. I know I've mentioned it in past weeks, but if you are looking to stretch out your calf muscles, maybe after a lower body day, you've done lots of walking, anything like that, you can use a wall to prop that foot up at an angle, and then you're just gonna shift the hips slightly forward to put a little bit of weight into the heel, and you should feel a stretch in the back of that calf muscle down here. We're just gonna hold this for a couple seconds. You're always like this one after a long walk or a run, anything like that. Especially if you can't get down onto the floor, or maybe you can't reach your toes. You have to, manually pull the feet back for the stretch. This is a great modification. Let's go on and switch other side. So other foot, prop it up at an angle and lean forward. You can also actually use this back foot. So if you have really loose calves, like maybe they're very mobile, they're not very tight, you can always raise up onto this back toe. So by raising up onto the toe, you're able to put a little bit more weight forward on the heel that you're trying to stretch. That is an option. The stretch feels a little too easy for you. We'll come down. The next set of exercises, like I said, or stretches, I should say, not really exercises, are going to be mostly shoulder based. So using our wall, we're going to reach your hand up and then lean into the wall just a little bit, as much as it feels comfortable to feel a little bit of a stretch. It should not be painful, it should not be anything too intense. So for some people that might be a lot lower. Mine is high. I just want to note that not everyone's arm has to be as high as mine is. But just walk your hand up the wall, see where you find that point where you feel a good stretch, and you can just kind of lean into it just a little bit. Should be feeling this kind of almost underneath in your armpit. This is the best way I have to explain it. We'll hold it here for a couple seconds. I look like I'm just hanging out, like I'm just chilling, posting up against the wall. Let's go on and come back to standing. We're gonna switch to the other side, so you're just gonna see the back of me for a second, but other side, reach that arm up, find where it feels comfortable, nice little stretch, and then we're gonna lean into the wall a little bit here, feel the stretch underneath. You can stagger those feet down below, or you can also hold on to something nearby for balance if that helps. Good. Let's come up from that stretch. Take those arms out a little bit. You can roll the shoulders back and down if that feels good. We're going to do a little bit of a chest stretch next. So this one is kind of a modification of the one that we typically do on the ground, laying on the foam roller with our arms open like this. So that's still a modification. If you're standing, you can just raise those arms back, look up towards the ceiling. But if you do have a wall, you're going to place one arm on the wall, palm is facing towards the wall, and then you're just going to slightly step forward. So my shoulder's here, I'm stepping forward so that my shoulder and my elbow are just a little bit behind me, and still trying to keep my hips and my chest straight forward. And I'm feeling a little bit of a stretch in the front of that shoulder and a little bit of the chest as well. If you've done a lot of push-ups or chest presses, or even when we do our chest fly exercise, this is a great stretch to follow up with afterwards. So let's go on and step back. We'll switch to the other side. So other arm goes up, step forward, lean into the stretch just a little bit here. A bit. And go on and come back. Sorry. Okay, next exercise or stretch, I should say, that we're gonna do it using the wall. We're just gonna have our hands on the wall, and I want you to step the feet back just a little bit. We're gonna be doing similar to either a down dog or a deadlift is the best way to think of it. So our hands are in front of us, and as we walk those hands down, we're gonna think about shifting those hips back. So you'll feel a stretch in your hamstrings and in your calves, and then let the head hang in between your arms and in between your elbows, and really try to push your chest forward as you push those hips back. And you should, like I said, feel a full body stretch here. So hamstrings, calves, we're getting a little bit of shoulder and upper body stretch. You can even move those hips from side to side slightly. Just slowly move them back and forth. You might feel a little bit of an opening in your low back. Especially if you've got a lot of tension in your low back, that might feel good. Hold it here for a few more breaths. And you can slowly walk those hands back up. Whew. All right, we're gonna finish out with one mobility exercise with the wall, stretch exercise, whatever we wanna call it. And that's for our shoulders. So I'm actually gonna move you a little bit forward. Sorry, traveling laptop today. But I wanna make sure you can see me well. Okay, so what is this hair, you guys? I look crazy. All right, standing up against the wall. Your feet can be a couple inches forward, that's okay. We don't want them super far forward, but they don't have to be exactly in line with the wall. You can be like a step forward. But your back should be up against your wall or your door. And we're gonna put our arms in that position that we start with in class. It doesn't quite have to be at 90 degrees yet. It can be a little bit lower so that your hands are at your shoulders. But I want you to try to keep your hands and your shoulders and your elbows and your back all on the wall at once. And this alone might be hard right now, and that's okay. So you might be like, I can't even get to that. I feel like I'm being pinned against the wall. And that's okay. That's something that will improve over time with shoulder mobility. You can just try to focus on holding this stretch. If you're like, I can do this fine, no problem, I need a little bit more, exercise is going to be to try to move your arms, and it's hard because I have a door, but say I'm all the way up against the wall. You want to try to raise those arms up the wall while still maintaining all of those points of contact. So hands are in line with the wall, elbows and your back, your shoulder blades all at once. So this isn't quite wide enough for me, but if I were to have a wall here, that would be going straight up, maintaining all those points of contact, and back down. So you might be able to move an inch. You might be able to move 6 inches. Maybe you can get all the way up and all the way down. It's very hard to do to actually maintain all the points of contact. You have to have amazing posture. So if you can do it, shout out to you because you do have amazing posture. But no, you can always just hang out in this stretch right here. And that's really helping reverse the posture that a lot of us have. Even if you're not hunched over like this, walking around, pretty much all of us, I mean, you can even see myself, my shoulders slightly rotate in. You can see that because my elbow faces towards you instead of facing back. So a good way to know where your hands are landing, or your shoulders are landing, I should say, is if your thumbs, and they're naturally resting at your sides, if they're facing in towards each other, like mine do, your shoulders are slightly rolling forward. And that's not ideal, but it's where most of us are at because we're sitting on a computer, or we're sitting on the couch, or we're driving, or whatever it is. So it takes a lot to reverse it. The goal is to have the thumbs more so pointing forward or even slightly out to the side when our arms are resting. And that all comes from the shoulder joint being turned out. So that is what this exercise helps to do. So it's difficult, it takes time, but it's a good one. I'm going to transition us into a few lower body stretches to finish out the day so we don't just skip over that entirely. But I'm going to drop in the chat right now a couple of those stretches. So some of the stretches that we just did are included in that video that I just dropped in the chat. So if you want to do them throughout the day without having to watch this whole class, you can always do that. So let's get a couple stretches in from the lower body before we finish out. We're going to kick one leg forward, push those hips back, and lean forward to get a little bit of a hamstring stretch here. A little bit longer than I hoped to explain all the shoulder stretches, but I hope that was helpful. Because I know we do tend to do a lot of the same exercises and stretches just based on the limitations of my space, the limitations of equipment that we all have. But I want to provide as much variation and modification as I can. Let's go on and switch to the other leg. And like I said, I think all of those stretches that I did with the door are really easy to do and incorporate throughout your day. You don't have to stop and do a whole workout. You could just do that for a minute or 2 minutes. And just kind of break up that sitting. So many of us are stuck in for 8 hours or however long throughout the day. Good. Let's raise up. And let's finish out with a little bit of a neck stretch. I know we did a lot of upper body, but I always like finishing with a neck stretch. So we'll take the right ear to the right shoulder, while actively pressing that left shoulder down and away. Use the hand to assist if you'd like. Back up, switch other side. Left ear, left shoulder, right shoulder presses down and away. Give a stretch on your right side. Good, and slowly come back to center. All right, you guys made it through. We didn't even make it to the foam roller. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're a diehard foam roller and you're upset we didn't get to it today. But like I said, just wanted to give you guys some variety with those other exercises and let you know that they're out there for you and that you've got that other YouTube video to reference if you want to repeat those back. So with that, I'm going to end the recording for today.